All right, and it says we are live. So, ba-da-ba-da. I pushed the wrong button. um, wait, hold on. Gotta remember how to actually share this thing. Um, oh wait, oh it's already. See, be my first official. It's throwing me off a little bit. Let me come
Uh,
over here to my page. Refresh. This one I will refresh. All right, we're showing live over here. Copy the link. I'm gonna send this to you in Messenger.
okay.
All right, coming to you.
All right. Let me share this real quick.
Uh, all right, got shared. All right, let me load this. Wait, hold on. There are certain things I probably shouldn't say. Let me enlarge that. All right, can you hear me?
Yep.
We're good. Audio good. Video good.
Sounds good.
Awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. I'm Ozzy, St. Anger Productions. Tonight we have St. Anger Productions present Travis P. Howdy, Travis.
Hey, Ozzy. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate you doing this. So, to get started, I fully support local entertainment. However, local is not limited to just Tonkawa, Tulsa, or wherever. Local can literally be anywhere you are located. So, local is your scene, it's your location. And with that being said, tell me a little bit about what local means to you. What is your location? And just kind of briefly describe the local entertainment scene for your area.
Sure. So I guess, local is relative, right? So in LA, local has a whole
Mhm.
different meaning than it does here in the Midwest. So to me, local is, maybe anything from Omaha to Tulsa, Oklahoma City, and, everything in between, Wichita. To me, that's kind of the local scene. If you want to get hyper focused, I would say my local scene is Wichita, Kansas, but um, I I do gigs in Tulsa and in different places in Oklahoma as well. So um, that's pretty much my local scene, and I think it's really important to support local music because without the local musicians, there is no music. It's all manufactured, and if you depend on the labels to manufacture your next character, um, you're not really getting real creativity. You're getting mass produced fake characters where the music all starts to sound the same. And I'm a firm believer in the local music scene, and hopefully it goes beyond that for a lot of different local musicians. Hopefully they make it further than the local scene, but it has to start there, right? And we need to support the local scene. So that's kind of what it means to me.
Absolutely. I love that. Um, So how far is your actual reach, and then how far are you willing to take your music?
You mean as far as travel?
Yes, travel
Oh,
or even social media.
um, gosh, I think a cumulative total of my bands and social media presence, it's not as big as I'd like it to be. It's only a few thousand people. Um, but some of my music has gotten a fairly good amount of streams, considering that I haven't really done a whole lot to market it. The first single from Hardwood Cherry, Forever Rose, uh, is almost up to 80,000 streams on YouTube Music. And
Wow.
we get a lot of radio play. Love Hardwood Cherry had a song called Love Song, that was played in October at the top of hour 2 on Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie, which I think is super cool. I'm really proud about. That goes out to, I don't know, anywhere from 7 to 10 million people
Wow.
tune into their show, and that's number one nighttime syndicated radio talk show. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
playing in a lot of different markets between Hardwood Cherry, Mother Kelly, and my country band Native Stone. All three of those acts have music that are on the radio. So I don't really know what our reach is. It's not enough, but I'm really proud of the accomplishments so far. I think it's substantially larger than I think I give myself credit for, but it's a hard game. It's a competitive space, man. And you've got to spend a lot of money to market to get, to reach an inflection point, this threshold. And I think once you pass that, it gets a little bit easier with, repeat views and people coming back, and your reach is, you're not just trying to reach new people, you're also reaching your existing clients or customers or listeners. So it's a whole thing, and I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm not signed to a major. It's just an indie label, and so resources are limited. And but I'm really proud of what's happened so far, and I look forward to the future. So I'm confident that if I just keep pushing forward, that that something will happen, and if not, well, at least I've tried. So
100%. Absolutely. If you don't try, you can't win.
that's right.
I love your attitude already, and we're just getting started.
Thanks, man.
No, you're welcome. So, how did you get into music, and what instrument or instruments do you play?
Oh man, so I grew up. My dad had a country band my whole life and his whole life, and he just recently stopped playing because he's getting to where his hands are having a hard time holding the guitar and fretting the instrument. So, but I grew up watching him, and he would take me to the honky tonks around the Midwest, and of course he played country music, so that was my early exposure, was to a lot of great country players and pickers, and man, those guys can really play. And it kind of really set it lined out for me. I knew exactly what I wanted to do when I grew up. I wanted to play music, and
No doubt about it. That's what you're doing.
so and that's what I'm trying to do. And and my instruments, well, my primary instrument's guitar, and I sing, so vocals and guitar, but I dabble with lots of stuff. I mean, I can play the bass, but not as well as a legitimate bass player. And
Right.
I can fumble around on the keys enough to write piano parts for my songs. And I play the clarinet with my kiddo. She's 9 years old, and I got her started playing clarinet, and so she had someone to practice with. I learned to play too, and now we, in my off time, I play in the municipal band and play clarinet with her, and it's a lot of fun. So I just try
I
to
love that.
do as much music as I can, really, and any genre. I'm not genre specific. I'm a real big firm believer in creativity shouldn't be isolated to a certain sound. I think that's where people really foul up, is they want to sound like someone else, or they want to sound like their last song or their last album, instead of letting the creative energy just kind of flow. And when I
Mhm.
write songs, I write songs. I don't care what it sounds like necessarily. I just try to write a good song, and really it just kind of happens. It's kind of hard to explain. I don't have a process necessarily. It's like a seed that I just plant and starts to grow. Um, and then when I'm done, I have a whole bunch of songs, and I kind of group them together so that they sound like they belong on the same album, if that makes sense. And I think
It
music
does.
changes, through time. You evolve, or your tastes change, or what you're inspired by or in the mood of, or whatever's happening in your life at that moment kind of comes out in music. And um, you know music is kind of like a soundtrack to life to me, and it's not just you know the person that's listening to it. They create their own life memories and soundtrack to their life, but the people that are writing it, the artist as well, it's kind of a soundtrack to their life. And so anyway.
You're not wrong. I grew up playing jazz band, playing drums. And one of the things we learned how to do was just improvise, especially when we're taking solos. I don't agree with written solos, unless it's something just specific for that song. Then can you call it a solo? But it changes with your mood. It changes with, day to day. You take it out of the road, and if it's just a legit improvised solo, it's going to change every location
Right. Yeah, I think there's
based
some
on your
merit to
mood.
that. I definitely do that a lot when I play live, but there's some songs whether when I think some songs people expect to hear certain um tonal centers or certain melodies, and if you deviate from that, they end up getting a little bit upset or disappointed. Like I couldn't imagine Slash going out and completely winging some of his solos because they're so iconic now that people just expect to hear those. But I completely agree with you that music should sometimes be spontaneous and whatever you're feeling, and I do that a lot as well. Um, but maybe that's the benefit of, right, still being a small local band that isn't drowned in notoriety. Like you have freedom. You don't have
Yeah,
expectations. Like I don't have people throwing Mentos at me at a concert expecting me to play some song, or holding me to every note of a solo that I've written on an album. So in that regard, that's that's pretty cool. um, I almost couldn't imagine that, actually. It almost seems depressing. But hey, if I had to do it to play stadiums, I would totally do it. I'd play the same damn note every night.
I would call you a sellout, but I would say that'd be to your positive benefit.
Yeah. Well, you got to
Sell
make
sell
some
them out.
concessions, sell out the stadiums. That's what I want to do. Yeah. I'd like to play those big shows, and I've that's what I'm working towards, and we're not going to give up. We're just going to keep going.
Right on. So it also begs the question of how much of the corporate BS are you willing to take to play those stadium shows?
Well, I don't know. It just depends. I have I'm no entertainment lawyer, but I have enough of a background in structuring business and contracts and music law and intellectual property that I've protected myself mighty thoroughly. So, I own all the publishing to every song I write. I own all the sound recordings and copyrights to all the audio recordings of every song that gets recorded. And, I've tried to set up corporate structures to protect my assets for the future, so I can build a catalog. And I would hope that would be
Absolutely.
seen as a positive thing, like a label. I would hope would respect that. Funny
Some
enough,
sort of leverage at least.
yeah, I kind of took some cues from Dave Grohl with his Foo Fighters setup. When he did a lot of that work initially, he was very smart about it business wise, and
Yes.
his Roswell Records got picked up and became like a I don't know if it's technically a subsidiary of one of the majors, but he's still very much has a lot of ownership of his own intellectual property. And I think that was an important thing for me to do. So that's what I've tried to approach it. I'd put up, I believe in mutual benefit, right? Like it's got to be a quid pro quo. If I'm going to give up something and go leave it all on the stage, and then I expect something back in return from them, and vice versa. I think it's got to be a give and a take in any kind of relationship, including business relationships. So
Absolutely.
I don't know if that answers the question or not. I guess it depends.
No,
I'd probably put up with a lot of bullshit if they were willing to put up with a lot of my bullshit and see how far
give
we
and
can
take.
go. Like
Give and take.
yeah,
Yeah.
like let's see how far we can make it. So
you mentioned attorneys and stuff. There's somebody I found on YouTube recently. She goes under the YouTube channel Top Music Attorney. She also has a Facebook page of the same.
Yeah.
From watching some of her videos, from what she's discovered about some of these streaming platforms, such as the one that starts with the S. I'm not going to start naming names, but then you have some of those distribution companies. Since most of you can't just upload, I guess it's true that you can't just upload straight to Spotify and Pandora and all those.
Right. You have to have a distributor.
Yep. And some of the AI stuff going on, and it's getting scary out there when it comes to you guys.
Yeah,
like all the corporate stuff.
They've always been shitting on the musician, and it's a tale as old as time. And what's shocking to me is music is such a part of human nature, but they've kind of relegated it to nothing but background noise. It's the chicken of the new era. And you have a lot of people. I don't want to talk poorly about anybody, but there's plenty of people out there that can't sing well enough to carry a tune. It's all nowadays. Apparently, you don't even have to sing. Like AI will do it for you, which is complete bullshit. It's cop out, right? Because it's just that's not a human creativity, right? And so,
wait, does that mean I have a chance?
Apparently so. I've never heard you sing, bro, but yeah,
you don't want to.
There's so many songs that are uploaded per hour on some of those platforms that a lot of musicians just get lost in the noise, and it's kind of a sad deal, and they're taking advantage of that mass creation of content to screw everybody, and it's not the same. Like what I do is not the same, not to demean anybody that does beats or raps. I have nothing against that, but we're not the same. Like I'm playing all the instruments on my album. They're buying a pre-made beat track. I'm writing all the lyrics. Yep. Sometimes they do or they don't. I'm recording it, and then we have to mix it and master it, which they do as well. But it's not the same. It takes a lot more time. It takes a lot more money in some cases. And so it's sad to see people churn out a lot of music that's not even really being played by human beings, and having to compete with that. And sad to say, when they started taking music out of the schools, because I don't think the music programs are anywhere near where they used to be. I'm glad that they still have some, but it shows. It shows. Back in, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Maple Leaf Rag, but it's a Scott Joplin song, and it's the #1 selling song of all time, if I remember correctly. And it was sheet music. Like back then, you had, if you wanted to hear the song, you had to play it or listen to someone play it live. You couldn't just throw a wax cylinder on your player and jam out to whatever tune you wanted. You can just dial up Spotify and listen to whatever song you wanted. There had to be human beings involved in the creative process of even recreating someone else's song, right? And nowadays it's not like that, and it's really strange to me. I haven't quite accepted it, but I think it's we'll see how it all plays out. I'm sure courts will eventually get involved and intellectual property rights will be explored because, if it's AI, they're stealing other people's intellectual property to make derivative works, to what's called a derivative work. And I completely disagree with the whole idea of it, and
there's one site that she had mentioned that, and it's not just the AI stuff. They're taking, let's just say, your music and putting it out there, allowing other people to went blank on the word,
like
recreate
remix.
your music, basically.
Yeah, not okay.
Yes, remix. No, at least not without the permissions and stuff.
Right,
you,
like
if they reach out to you, they give you permission.
There's licenses involved in that, and you have to have explicit licenses from the publishing rights holder. And because some people just do this, they come home and this isn't what their dream is, or it's not fake to some of us. It's not fake to a lot of us, but to many people it is fake. They do something else. That's how they survive, and they come home and they punch some buttons on their keyboard, and then they upload some shit that was made by a computer. And God, I sound so hateful right now, but it's aggravating. It's aggravating because some of us, have spent our whole lives to put ourselves in the position to learn, to play, to write, to be able to go on the road and tour, and to just get browbeat by these companies. And all the middlemen who want to take it. It's really disgusting. Yet if I was, some sort of a social media influencer, I'd get paid lots of money for something that's going to fade away in 2 days. Great music doesn't fade away.
Yeah.
It's part of your life forever. Like, how many times you see in comments like, this music saved me, or this reminds me of my dad who died, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, how many times you see that shit in a social media? Oh man, this social media, this influencer post saved me. Oh shit, this reminds me of my father who passed. You're never going to hear that because it's not important. However, they get.
You hear about music though.
Huh?
You heard about the music. Most definitely.
Yeah, I'm rambling, and I should shut up now. But yeah, it's.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
It's a sore subject. I think it probably is for a lot of people. Like, I'm not opposed to change, and I'm not opposed to any genre of music, but I am opposed to intellectual property theft, and I am opposed to not giving appropriate compensation to musicians, and especially when they're spending their hard-earned money and their life, trying to create something that is good for everyone. So
yeah, Limp Bizkit's going through a legal battle right now because of their music record.
I wasn't aware of that.
And then sorry, train of thought. One of the things that was brought up during the thing about that I was watching about the Limp Bizkit. Crap, hold on. Brain fog just hit.
That's okay. It happens to all of us.
Oh yeah. Like the record label stuff. We were talking about the record labels earlier. There's a lot of times when you sign those bigger labels, some of those that have the money, they may claim that, I'm getting a, $50,000, $100,000, $1 million sign-on bonus. But is that a bonus, or that an advancement to cover your cost to start getting your name out there?
Right. Well, yeah. And I think it's important to make sure you understand all the ins and outs anytime somebody wants to give you money, because they will recoup their expenses before you really see any more profits. And to be honest, I think that's fair, right? I mean, if someone's going to give you a whole bunch of money, a bunch of capital, and they're going to pay to produce your album and market it. And I think it should be fair market value for the services that they're contracting, but I understand that they want to be compensated for the money they've spent. It's their investment, you know. But yeah, you should definitely understand what you're getting into, and know if you're taking a bad deal or not. Like, you have to be realistic with yourself too, on how many albums can you put out, and what are your expectations for each one, you know. And until you reach a certain point, it's very hard to get the millions and millions of streams that the bigger artists or established artists have, right? And so it costs a lot of money, and you just got to go into it knowing that, and be okay with not seeing any revenue for a little while, you know. I think that's the reality of the situation, you know. But it doesn't help whenever providers aren't paying either, right? So that's an issue.
Mhm. I know when I booked my concert back, we had February 15th. Ticket sales weren't really the best, to be totally honest. Covered all the bills, and sadly, that was it. So,
Yeah.
one concert, expecting, hoping, fingers crossed, that you'd have, 100, 200 people buying tickets to support local bands. And, don't get me wrong, again, decent attendance, but rather low. We support local music, but to be able to get them out to these shows, to actually be able to pay those bills, pay the venue, pay your sound, audio, all your bands, make sure they're compensated. That money's got to come somewhere.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard now to get the crowd out.
Yeah,
it's a different era, and we live in this era of a world full of narcissists, and we have platforms created for narcissistic personalities, and it's created even more narcissists. And what I mean by that is, I think there's plenty of people that they get all dolled up and they want to go out and have a good time, but it's not just about going and having a good time, listening to music, dancing, enjoying the company you're with. Far too many people don't enjoy the company they're with anymore, or even the music they're listening to. It's got to be about them. So everybody's streaming themselves on their phones. So you have 6 people standing around in a circle and they're all pointing the camera at themselves instead of having a conversation. Or they're at a live show, and instead of watching it with their own eyes and hearing it with their own ears, they're pointing their phone at it, and like it's going to be some sort of a preserved memory, and it'll never be as good as if they would have just lived in the moment. And a lot of people go out, they go out and they want to do things that make it all about them. And I think seeing other people perform is not, I don't know, it's strange. And until you reach a certain level, and they've told enough people that this is what you need to be listening to right now, it's just an uphill battle, and that's just the reality of it. And it's some sort of strange psychology, and that's okay. You just got to figure out how to play the game in today's psychological situation, I guess.
I don't know. How well do you think Tool did with their decision with the no cell phones? Because you think about it, it takes a return investment as a musician. You're up there putting out your energy, and you need the crowd to return that energy so you can amplify it back and forth like a game of ping pong till the end of the night.
Absolutely.
That energy can't come from the cell phone.
No. And I think every artist to each their own. I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, I get it. Some people want to take, but it's become overboard. Like,
yeah,
it's gotten way out of control. And I just think it's people that, Tool's fairly, I don't know. It's fairly there's a message in a lot of their stuff. It seems like he comes at things from some sort of a spiritual perspective, maybe. And I know he's
Hmm.
into a lot of jujitsu and self discipline and self improvement of such. And he believes in massive action. And I think he probably looks at that as you're not even living vicariously through me as a performer. You're not living at all. You're living on your phone. Like, that's not life. Like, I don't even know how to articulate what I'm trying to think, but it seems like you know are you even there at all?
Wait,
Does that make
hold on.
sense?
Let me. Huh? Did you say something? Sorry, I was on the phone.
Right. I mean, but it
Really?
feels like that's what it seems like, a lot of empty people with a lot of thoughts that aren't their own, and it's all about that phone. And it's kind of sad, like, I'm all for unplug for a day every week or something. See how you feel. Go outside,
Unplug for a couple hours a night or a couple hours a weekend at a concert. Just
exactly.
you and the music and the
Yep.
people around you.
Not a bad thing.
People that's never been to concerts, like, why do you spend the money to go to concerts when you can watch this stuff on YouTube all the time? Because apparently you've never lived in the moment and it's been there sharing the same space with hundreds to thousands to tens of thousands of people just there to do the same thing. Enjoy the music, enjoy the
And
fellowship.
that energy that's created at a live event is a really special thing. It's memorable. It's
Mhm.
memorable. So
It is.
it's yeah, you gotta live in the moment.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
mean, that's how I ended up crying during the national anthem opening up for Oklahoma one year. Somebody's up on stage doing the national anthem. I was saluting and um, just started crying, just being in that moment, that energy right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a powerful thing, and I think that's what art's supposed to do. Art is supposed to invoke an emotional response of some sort, and that can't happen if you're not really interacting with the art. If you've always got an intermediary as a phone, um, you're not really interacting with anything. you know
Mm-mm.
so
So yeah, definitely a lot of issues that need to be addressed.
yeah, man. And I maybe I got off on the wrong foot here. Like, I feel like I'm supposed to be all happy and
No,
positive and shit, and I am.
this is
I
about
don't want
whatever
to
you want to talk about.
I don't want to sound like disgruntled or anything like that. It's not the case, but
Why?
it's a reality.
When
It's a
yeah,
reality.
musician after musician, artist after artist, they are feeling a little grumpy, but they no release. So you're being their voice right now.
I don't know if they I don't know if they'd like that very much, but I
There's the people
definitely
that need to hear it that
it's
won't like it.
it's the way I'm feeling right now, and it's okay, because as long as you know motivation doesn't cause action. Action causes motivation and momentum.
Yes,
And so
yes.
you can't just sit around waiting for things to be right to keep trying. You've got to
Hmm.
work really hard in spite of, and take lots of action, and keep trying, and momentum will build, and motivation will come to keep doing more and keep getting better. And so it's not a deterrent to me at all. It's a little bit disappointing at times. I don't like seeing what's become of people and the way they interact with each other and with art or with society in general as a result of technology. So anyway, rant over.
I will say technology's had a great advancement too. From being a sound tech.
For sure.
Yes, I grew up analog. I grew up analog. We didn't even have analog. We just had sound equipment. You know,
Well, it was
the
all
old
analog.
stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly. So just the sound equipment. Now, with the implementation of the digital stuff, there has been a lot of improvements. When you can tune a whole PA in like the BOK Center, Staples Center, wherever, and make it sound so perfect, like you're playing the live record or you're playing the recording live. I mean, that's some good technology.
Sure.
But then it's when you start relying on it too much, like visualizing the EQ instead of using your ear, or auto tune instead of learning how to sing, or the followers on Facebook versus your actual fans.
Right.
Technology can have its downfall too.
Sure. Yeah, just like
So,
anything, I suppose.
yeah. So you told us a little bit about when you was little. Describe your musical background for us.
My musical background? Well, I started off, you know, playing country music with my dad and trying to learn from some really great guitar players, Alan Eggleston, um, Bill Stone, Kurt Graber, lots of guys that are just incredible pickers that are in the local scene, but it would hold up to anything you'd find in Nashville or anything like that. And I think that kind of really helped define my style. Like if you were to listen to a lot of my music, I have a tendency to do a lot of hybrid picking, and I'm not Brent Mason by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that comes out. Like if you listen to some of the Hardwood Cherry songs, where you would expect to have, you'll hear the 16ths and the polyrhythms and things like that you might expect, but you'll also hear me bust out like some hybrid picking stuff, and it's just become kind of part of my style. So but from country I went into rock and roll. I had a lot of friends that were like, hey man, can you play Deep Purple, or you can play some Skynyrd, and
Freebird.
I started learning all the stuff that I could, from 70s and 80s rock, and then I the grunge era was right there, and so I played a lot of grunge rock and stuff as a teenager, and it took a lot of years for me to actually find my own style and sound and be, I don't want to say good, I don't know if I'm a good songwriter, but be comfortable as a songwriter, and not just automatically dismiss anything that I create as shit. And so, it took many years to get to the point where I felt comfortable with the progressions I was playing, or is it too simple? Is it too complex? I was always second guessing everything, and lyrics, oh, that's not deep enough, or that's stupid, or whatever. And something just happened. Something happened. I don't know what it was. I can't really describe it, but all of a sudden it just became easy. And I'm not saying that the product is fantastic. I don't think they're bad. I think they hold up to anything that you hear on the radio. And maybe that's why I've had such success getting so many songs on the radio, because it's palatable. But it took a long time to get to the point where I thought my stuff was even worthy of being heard by someone else, and I can't exactly explain to you what that process is, but I've always been first and foremost a guitarist. I started with country, then went to rock, and I wish I was a much more proficient jazz player. Actually, I think jazz guitar is really, really cool, and I like gypsy jazz. Like, I listen to that a lot. I'd like to someday make a gypsy jazz album, just because I think it's so cool. And but anyway,
We'll get you to go play down there at Mardi Gras.
oh man, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, I'll bring my clarinet.
Yeah,
with Skinny Tuba or somebody like that. I think that's what they're called.
See, there you go. Learn a little bit of that jazz, and let's go down to New Orleans.
Yep, that'd be fantastic.
I don't know if I'm saying that right. New Orleans, something like that.
Nolens.
Yeah, just like that, just like that.
Anyhow,
I mean, don't forget, I'm a jazz drummer, so if you need a drummer to kind of fill in,
there you
give
go.
you some good swing,
You bet.
you know it ain't got ain't. You know it. Don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing.
That's right. Absolutely.
So basically, how do you see yourself musically in the future? Like, where do you see your path taking you?
Well, I moved back to southern Kansas from LA in 2017. And I started playing, well, I started two bands and then I started playing in another, which I am the only remaining member that was there then. So I guess it's kind of my thing now, but I never expected all three bands to, I didn't expect all three of them to have an album of original content that was actually doing well and feeling like it had momentum. I figured one of them would take off. Maybe the other two would just fall by the wayside, and I would just kind of retire those and go with the one that was moving. But
Mm-hmm.
strangely enough, they all have some sort of momentum, and it's been very difficult. And I had some advice from some people in the industry that told me that since I'm the only one writing the music, anyways, that maybe I should consider doing solo, as Travis Pierman and release a lot of music under that, and maybe do one album a year under my bands and just see how it works. And you can book Travis Pierman and hear all the music, but I'm still trying to figure that out. I think they're right. I think it's easier to market and promote one thing versus three. You got to know when something's. I can't call them a dying dog. I'm not ready to just walk away. It's not like they're not doing something, but I have to also
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge that it splits my time, it splits my attention in multiple directions, and it's hard to maintain that. It's hard to push multiple things forward when I could just be pushing myself forward, and all the music would come with. And I don't know. Where I'd like to see myself is at the end of this year, I'll have a huge collection of music that I've released that rivals pretty much anybody's career, I would say, as far as quantity and hopefully as far as quality as well. I'd like to see a major label take notice and pick me up and work out a mutual beneficial deal where I can play lots of shows and make some money, and so can they. And I just want people to hear the music. And it's hard to be in. Can you imagine being somebody like Da Vinci or Picasso or something, making an amazing piece of art that nobody ever saw? Could you imagine that? I mean, what a shame. I'm
No.
not putting myself on the same level, but I'm simply saying that as an artist,
Yeah.
first and foremost, we do create art for ourselves, but it sure is nice to have people hear it. So I want to have people hear it. And
Absolutely.
I think that's where I'm headed. I'm working on redoing my sizzle reels, so I can push those out to promoters again, and hopefully start getting fall and spring and summer 2026 festival dates. And we'll see what happens. Right now, this year, I'm playing smaller gigs and shows, and really working hard on just trying to get all the music that I'm working on recording out. Like I mentioned earlier when we had spoke, I wrote over 500 songs in the last year and a half, and
Wow.
I chose about 300 of those songs, and I committed to some um, crazy amount. And I think it kind of like I drew some inspiration from um, oh gosh, I don't want to get it wrong because they'll crucify me. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. I don't know if you've ever heard of these guys. So King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, they're great, but they release 2 or 3 albums a year, and I thought, well, I've got the material. I could release 2 or 3 albums a month for the whole year, and man, I'd have a serious collection of music. And I
Hmm.
don't. I mean, I'm not going to stop after that, but I doubt I'll do that again next year. Next year, we'll be out playing live shows and probably be a more reasonable pace from there on out, unless I write 500 more songs in the process. But whatever I write, if it feels worthy, I'm going to release it. And so within the next couple weeks, I'd like to see my first 3 albums of the year out. I released 7 singles at the end of last month, and then I got sick for a couple weeks this month, so I wasn't able to retrack some of my vocals. And I'm not a big believer in post processing everything and tuning and auto tuning until it's just perfect. I try to just make it sound like you're going to hear it live, and that might be a little rough to some people, but it's real. It's real. It's authentic. And so anyway, the Scorchies album's coming out, and within the next 2 weeks, I'm trying to get it solidified with the distributor so that I know it's going to be uploaded to the stores in time. And then Shaman Boy, which is kind of heavy. A lot of those songs are in drop C. And then Hot Rod, which is kind of a horror punk album. And so I'm excited about those. And then at the end of, I guess, April, there'll be 3 more albums. I think Supersonic Superpower, which I released a single off of it already, called Frequency. And then, oh gosh, I have a whole calendar schedule of stuff. It's so much music's coming out that I almost can't keep track of it. But
Is it all a blur?
it is. But the cool thing is that I get to handpick, showcase shows are nothing for me. Like, some people go do a showcase show and they're like, man, I don't have enough original material to fill this show. Dude, I could play original material for 6 hours straight. So at least I've got that going, so I can handpick a great lineup and build an amazing live show of original material. And, hopefully people still want to hear new original material, so.
Oh, we absolutely do. We all get tired of hearing the same old covers.
Right. And boy, I've sure gotten tired of playing covers. No disrespect
of the bar
to those
life.
songs. I mean, those songs are great. We're all building
Those
on
expectations I see.
Yeah, there's no real, to me, the reward isn't there. Creating your own art is very rewarding, and it's just a good feeling, especially when somebody likes it. Yes, it's kind of not,
Right.
I'm not seeking approval necessarily, but it's nice if somebody likes it. I'm happy with it, and I guess that's all that matters. But it's cool when other people dig it too.
Absolutely. That one person. Hopefully that one person is somebody that's got some money and power.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I don't even know if A&R reps go to shows much anymore, man. Like, I don't know.
They probably watch TikTok.
That's what I think. Yeah. That's what I
Finding
think.
the next greatest hit there.
Yeah, and letting you do all the legwork for promoting and building yourself up. And at some point, it's like, well, if I've already reached this, oh gosh, another one. I don't want to get it wrong, because people would, if anybody ever watches this, they'd crucify me. But Tom McDonald.
Guys, don't crucify him.
Tom
Yeah.
McDonald. This dude is totally independent and created his own media and what do you call that, hype, I guess, and he's done a great job at it. So at this point, like, does he even need a label? I mean, everything he posts gets millions of views within a week or two, so I'm not sure where the benefit's at. But I wouldn't mind, if somebody's watching this and you hear my music and you like it, let's talk. Give me a call for sure.
There
I'm
you
not,
go.
I'm not getting millions of people like Tom McDonald yet, so I could use some help.
Now the question when it comes to people such as Tom and all these other ones that have these, millions of followers and stuff online, how well do they sell out these shows when they go live?
Gosh, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Makes me
I
wonder
don't know.
what the fan to follower ratio is.
Right? I don't know. 10 to 12%. I have no idea. That's a really good question. I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think things change once you reach a certain level of fame in the cultural and social sphere, and you're more likely to get sellout shows. I don't know what that magic number is. I don't know what that tipping point is, but if I figure it out, I'll certainly let you know.
Yeah, once you figure it out, we'll do another live stream and
Sure, absolutely. I'll
you
tell
can share the
everybody.
secret,
You
that
got to
fountain
get
of
this
life.
many people.
Yeah. So you said you had 3 different projects going on. Tell
Yeah,
us about tell us about what they are a little bit more and go
sure,
into your role of what you have within each of them.
sure. So, my country band, 7-piece country band, it's called Native Stone, and you can find that anywhere you listen to music. And if you're not into country, my hard rock band is called Mother Kelly, and then same with them. You can find them wherever. And my third one is Hardwood Cherry, which I'm really partial to Hardwood. I have a lot of fun in that band. It's a good time, and it's like funk rock, funk alternative rock, and just got a new T-shirt design, Bride of Funkenstein for Hardwood Cherry, and
Nice.
so that band's a lot of fun, and you can hear them online as well. But aside from those three, a lot of the music that I'm releasing this year is under my solo stuff, which is just Travis Pierman, and each band that I just mentioned has an album coming out this fall, so that'll be their second album, and then I've got, I don't know, 27 coming out this year. I mean, I'm really busy recording, and it seems like an astronomical feat, but the songs are already written. I just got to get them tracked um, and mixed and mastered, and which is a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and
Oh,
so
yes.
when you hear some of the songs and you're like, well, that's a little raw. Well, it is a little raw. I got, because I'm doing the best I can, but I'm trying not to spend so much time on each song. It's not like Megadeth's album where they set and they meticulously went and got every note perfect, right? Like the most studio perfect album, metal album ever, or something like. It's not one of those. It's well, that's pretty damn good. I That's good enough. I've got a whole bunch more songs to do, and it's not trying to shortchange the song or the creation, but I get it to where it sounds good, and it sounds real. I want it to sound real. I want my music to be real. So when you come see a show, and it sounds just like the album or better, man, that's fantastic. Like that's what I want, and I don't want it to be fake. And I try not to put filler songs on there. Of course, I'm sure to some people, who's to say what a filler song is? I'm sure no band probably tries to put filler songs on there, but
Red Solo Cup.
I like to think that a lot of my songs are, you know, I chose from the best ones that I thought out of all my songs and put them together. And so there's a lot of music coming out. I encourage everybody to follow Travis Pierman on Facebook, or follow me on Spotify or YouTube, and just stay tuned, because every month there's going to be lots of new music coming out. And I'm just working really hard to get it done. I'd like to. This is what I was supposed to do, man, and then I'm not going to stop until it happens. And my family supports it, and my wife and kid, they're both really supportive of it. And I'm in a position where I could pull up and leave and go on tour for a year and it would be okay. And so, you know, I'm just going to keep trying until it happens. Right. And I'm going to make it happen. But I need help too. I need people to listen. So tune in. If there's songs you like, give it a thumbs up, you know, share it. You know, it doesn't cost anything to support music like that, right? You can go listen for free. You can give a thumbs up, you can share. And I'm not going to get rich off of your thumbs up or your share.
No.
But it might help other people find it, you know, and maybe eventually, if there's a critical mass of people doing that, then maybe eventually I might actually break even at least. But but it's not even about making money. I just want to be able to support myself at least. And I want to play the shows, man. Like playing live, there's nothing like it. And I have a lot of fun doing it. And yeah, I want to play the big shows, you know, big shows. And then when I get old, I'll be back down to the little shows again. And that's okay. That's the way it works. But that's just my dream, you know, and I'm going to try to make it a reality.
Music is just life. Absolutely. So from the perspective of your bands, and then as yourself as well, what is the mission for each band? And then for the three of them, do you write from the lyrical aspect, the musical aspect, or do you just combine them both? Because I know you was talking about a little bit of melodics on the one.
My mission, well, like I said, I never expected to have all three still going. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'll just consolidate everything under my solo stuff. I'd like, you know, they say a rising tide raises all ships. I wish any one of the things I'm doing would hit so that the other people, the other music would also have an opportunity to rise with me, with the other bands or whatever, you know. And so I'm not sure what the mission is, to keep making music. That's the primary mission. Keep making music, keep playing live shows, and keep doing things that people like. And then how do I approach songwriting? I don't know. I guess sometimes it starts with lyrics, and sometimes it starts with music, and sometimes it's really strange because I don't really feel like I write the songs, to be honest with you. I think once I stopped trying to write the songs and gave my creative energy over to whatever else it is, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, it's kind of like a conduit where creativity just flows through me. And I can't really explain it. It's not a process. It just happens. And sometimes it starts with, usually I have 15 guitars laying around, but sometimes it starts
Not today.
with a, you know, just a rhythm, or sometimes it starts with a lick. Here, I'll be right back.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, looks like we'll get a performance. Spoiler alert, I don't know. I think we will. We shall see.
So whenever I wrote Forever Rose, the first single from Hardwood Cherry, it just started off as this riff, and it was just, you probably can't hear it, but I was just noodling.
A little bit, yeah.
And then that became the song. Sometimes it's Always Running started off as a rhythm. I was just kind of popped into my head, and the song developed around that. And then it's pretty much the same for everything. There's no standard. Something just happens. It's like a seed gets planted, and then it rapidly grows. And I don't try to force anything. I don't try to make anything that sounds like something. I just let it happen. and then whatever that result is, that's what it is. And I guess there is no process. My process is, it's very spontaneous. There is no real I don't have a formula that I sit down and use every time I play music or write a song. So
Okay. Yeah, I just wasn't sure, you know, like a little bit more, like, I guess there's a way I could rephrase this somehow, but it's like, um, with Rush writing their lyrics, or Taylor Swift's lyrics, or whatever. Do you write these lyrics from the heart, or is it just like what pops in the head and feelings and stuff like that? Or
both. You know, some songs have a lot more personal meaning to me than others. So I'd say those come from more of a heart place. And then some of them are just a concept, like this idea, a concept, a picture almost. Always Running, the words to that, like first it was, so this rhythm popped in. And as I was doing that, this picture in my head popped in of me playing a show in a little shady ass little bar, and
Tulsa?
and people there, you know, like there's a lyric, black fishnets and cut off jeans, about a girl, you know, and so I just had this picture of this musician and this girl meeting, but you know, she's the kind of loving that's always running, is basically the words. And so she's not, you know, probably not a good place to meet your life partner is. But it was just
so it sounds like you're talking about somebody that's dressed like head to toe, black veil brides.
So, but yeah, I mean, it popped into my head, and so the lyrics just came along with that, and kind of told the story, you know. But sometimes, like I've written songs about my wife or my kid, and not meaning to, didn't start off that way, but that was the end result. And those come from a place from the heart, because, you know, it means a lot more to me, you know, and they have real personal meaning with the lyrics. So, you know, those are more, you know, heartfelt and written from that perspective, I guess.
Then when you do the music to those, you just kind of match the feeling of the initial vibes.
I'd say I usually, with those, funny enough, they start off as a line in my head where I've already got a melody. I'm already singing the song. I've already got a progression in my head as I'm singing the words. Like, it's not like the words popped into my head like on a piece of paper where they're just plain words without any musical inference. Like, they pop into my head with melody and progression kind of already there. So, you know, I'm just singing the song in my head, and then as soon as I can get to a guitar or piano or something, I work out the full progression, but it's like they just happen simultaneously. Very rarely do I write all the words to a song first and then put music to it. I've done that, but it's not as often. It's not as common. I don't know.
It's not as comfortable.
Well, it just does. Like, I don't sit down to write songs. Songwriting just happens spontaneously in a moment. Like, again, I don't even know how to articulate it. It's like an explosion of creativity, and sometimes 2 or 3 songs will come out right in a row. I don't sit down with the intention, man, I'm going to write a song right now. that's generally not how that works for me. It just it's like it as weird as it sounds, it's like I'm channeling the creative process and the song from somewhere else, and I've just got to get it down before my brain forgets what it's just heard, if that makes sense.
That makes absolute sense because I'm hearing that as somebody with ADD, and it's like, yeah, absolutely right.
So I guess that's the only way I could explain it.
Okay. I know we've already discussed some hot topics and stuff, but besides politics, religion, or any of the other major debatables, which, by the way, y'all, I apologize for the Black Veil Brides comment earlier. I love Black Veil Brides, so no offense, I kind of fit the bill. Um, so I just throw that out there, a little disclaimer. I don't want to get myself in trouble. But describe the morals of like the bands, because I know the bands have individual souls to make up the band.
The morals?
So things some shift, yeah. So the morals, like between yourself and then the other three bands.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there are any more. I mean, I don't really see them as like characters. The only reason that there's three of them is because the sound was different enough, and then that they might have warranted being categorically different, and they were different players and different people involved and initially, and but as for morals, I don't really think of it that way. I'm just trying to create music and reach people, and I don't know how to answer that question because I guess I don't really think of it that way. I think morals aren't for me to impart to you. Morals are for you to that's between you and your maker or whatever you believe or your parents, and like it's not my job to impart morals or strip morals away from people. It's my job to create music that makes you want to listen, and because of the nature of art, so many things can be interpreted different ways. I think that's the beautiful thing about music. So I think it's not so much about what my morals are or what the band's morals are. It's what are your morals and what do you take out of the song when you're hearing it, and I guess that's the only way I could really answer that question.
That was the best answer so far. I'll be honest right there. Don't tell the other ones, but yeah.
Oh, thank you.
No problem. No, thank you for the honesty. So we all have people who influence us. I'm going to say, besides your dad, who are your influencers as?
Oh man,
who you are as Travis and who you are as the musician?
That's a scary question, dude. Because I listen to so much music and find so much. I would say if we're talking genre specific, like for Hardwood Cherry, the Meters, the Brothers Johnson, Parliament Funkadelic, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and maybe like the grunge scene from the 90s. If you were to toss that all in a bowl and mix it up, you might get something that sounded like Hardwood Cherry.
Nice.
For country, it's the classic, Hank Williams Sr., Hank Williams Jr., Merle Haggard, Waylon Jennings, George Jones. I like a lot of the old trucker stuff, and I like the 90s country. It's hard to beat George Strait, and even though Garth Brooks has gotten really political lately, like there's no denying that he was a powerhouse of 90s country.
Oh yeah.
Vince Gill, I think, is fantastic. I like a lot of the studio guitar playing on that Brett Mason did on the country albums from the 90s. For Mother Kelly, my hard rock influences, God, there's so many. Ozzy, and anything Ozzy's ever done through his many iterations. Um,
Yes.
Deep Purple, Blue Oyster Cult, Rainbow. Man, a lot of bands from the '80s. Mr. Big, and Alice in Chains, and into the '90s. It's, gosh, that's a tough one. And for me personally, like, I like everything from old ragtime piano to death metal. I like gypsy jazz. I just like music. So my influences are pretty varied. I think I have such an eclectic playlist, it would probably weird some people out, maybe.
I'd say hell no. Let's go for a ride.
I mean,
We're playing your playlist.
uh, I even liked Dr. Demento's show when I was a kid. You can imagine the random shit that was on there. So, um, anyway, yeah, that's a tough one. But and you'll never mention everybody that you should have mentioned. It's like
No.
one of those thanks speeches where you're supposed to give thanks to all these people and remember all these people. Like I can never get it right. So, but
No,
that's
there
just
are a lot of musicians. You mentioned Garth Brooks, and Oklahoma's had a lot of successful musicians. A lot of them has been country. Like you got Toby Keith, um, Garth Brooks, Carrie Underwood. Uh, is it Brad Paisley, or
yeah.
that's from Ada, or is this
Oh, I don't know
somebody
if he's
else?
from. I don't know. I don't know if he's from Ada. I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you that for sure.
Okay, who's the one that was on The Voice?
Oh, with the yeah.
Yeah,
That's new country. I guess I don't listen to as much new country, but he's Gwen Stefani's, or wasn't him Gwen
yes,
Stefani an item? Yeah,
yes, that
yeah. I
person.
should know, but I don't. Um,
He's from
when
Ada.
Nashville decided that the country sound was supposed to be pop music, I stopped listening to the new country as much. Like I lost a little respect for it, because not for country music, but for Nashville and the people that they create. Again, like I get it that everybody wants fame and everybody wants to make music, and these guys are talented. Like there's no denying that there's a lot of talent there. But when you have the same couple of songwriters writing everyone's songs, and when you have the same people, I mean, it's like you're hearing the same thing over and over and over
Yeah,
again.
people
And
really don't realize that when you hear these Taylor Swift songs, well, I've mentioned her a couple of times, Rascal Flats or whoever, most of the time those are not their songs. Those were bought by a songwriter.
yeah, and I'm not privy to which ones do and don't, but I know that there's a very big amount of them that don't write their own music, and that's that's okay. But the sad outcome of that is that you have 30 artists and they all sound exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
And the record companies push, well, that sold for them, let's recreate that with you. But I don't want to be a clone of somebody else. Like,
Recreation.
yeah, if you don't like my stuff, then sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's why I don't have a contract. Um but that's
Even Mini Me switched sides.
okay. Mini Me. That's
So
funny.
I had to bring that one up. We were talking about clones, so Dr. Evil versus Mini Me.
Yeah.
Even Mini Me switched sides. I was going to ask, since Oklahoma's had a lot of great musicians make it big, what about Kansas? Is there a lot of them that's come out of Kansas as well?
Joe Walsh did, but I'm sure there's been some others. I think the Dixie Chicks are from here. I know that there's probably a lot of people that I can't think of, but I'm not
I
really
would say
sure.
Tech Nine, but Tech Nine's on the other side of the river.
Missouri.
Yeah, wrong Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm not. That's a good question. Now I'll have to go look it up and find out. Big list of Kansas artists that have made it somewhere, but you know, I really don't know. I know Oklahoma has had a great thriving music scene for a long time.
Yeah,
Between
but
Tulsa,
Wichita, Wichita and Topeka and all them cities
they're
combined,
okay.
how would
They're okay. They don't have
lots
the
of great
storage.
talent?
Yeah, there's a fair amount of good talent actually. And there's more and more of them that are starting to make their own albums and write their own stuff. There's a lot of good talent. If you go, to Kirby's with any regularity, you will eventually hear some just amazing musicians with some amazing songs. And I think that's really encouraging to see that there's so many people out there that are still making good original music, and it is there to be heard if you just go out and listen and support local. And I would say
Mm-hmm.
the number one venue for original music in Wichita is probably Kirby's. Downside to that is you don't really get paid to play there unless you make money out of the tip bucket. So
Or
they're
selling some
usually
merch.
or selling some merch. So there's showcase shows that you don't really get compensated for. You sell your merch, you get your tip jar, and that's it. And hopefully it leads to gigs at the Cotillion or Temple Live or something like that.
Eventually, interest.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Somebody like Travis P.
That's it. You got it.
See, there we go. But we just got to get you guys out there,
Yep.
because I was sitting there thinking, with the great talent that is in Kansas, why are there not? Why would there not be a lot more notoriable people like there are in Oklahoma? Like, why are they not being heard?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. Hey, I posted oops, I'm gonna put it in the comments too. Oh no, I don't know.
Mhm.
Oh, someone asked a question. Where are you playing next? So
Yeah, Cynthia's asking that.
Cynthia, I believe
Shoemaker.
we have a gig on the books at Kirby's for July 5th, I think. If you just go follow me on Facebook, and let me find the link. Then I'll be able to. I post all my gigs and stuff on there, and you'll be able to stay up to date. But I know we for sure have one coming up, Kirby's, where we're going to be playing all of our original stuff. Do they see the private chat with everyone in the studio? I'm going to paste this in.
Private is just you and I.
Oh, is it? Okay. I'm not
I
sure
can
how
go
do
in
we.
real quick. I see. Okay, I see.
The first one's a
And
playlist to all the
copy.
music that I released. So if you guys want to hear, you can listen on YouTube or Spotify or wherever. This is a YouTube playlist, and I just add all the music that I write and that gets released onto there. So you can find everything there. And then my Facebook is official Travis Pierman. You can also find everything at travispierman.music, which is pretty cool. So if you haven't seen the .music pages, check it out. I think maybe the first U.S. artist to have one, or one of the very first. So
Oh wow.
travispierman.music, and everything should be there. So
Yeah, I'm getting you. If I not close
right
out
on.
private chat and then copy and paste this, hit the. I have to remember to hit the X, not the backspace. Copy. All right, I'm back. Post comment.
I appreciate you having me on and doing this, man. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, no problem.
Talking with you.
Oh, definitely. You got time for a couple more.
Yeah, hey, think I'm late to the party, but hey, John, how you doing? Good to see you. I tell you what, this cat John that just joined, Odessa pickups. If you're a guitar player and you want custom hand wound pickups that sound better than anything else you're going to hear, get a hold of John at Odessa Pickups. He's a wizard, and man, he makes some amazing stuff. So a lot of the songs that you're going to hear on my playlist and that I've released have been recorded with his pickups. So if you like that sound, that's the first one step of getting that sound is get some Odessa pickups, and then we'll do a gear rundown sometime. And if anybody cares, if anybody actually cares what I play, but anyway.
there'll be some guitar heads I'd love to watch.
For sure. Yeah, I do.
We'll definitely have to do a part 2 on that one.
Yeah, I've got time for a couple more questions, and then I do have to run after that. But yeah, let's do it. What do you got?
Okay, so when it comes to managers, producers, promoters, I'll just categorize these into all like managers, producers, promoters, recording studios, and venues. There's kind of the chain of command throughout. What do you look for in those?
Oh, wow. Well, I think the answer is different for everyone.
Yeah.
For a manager has to be, if I'm going to give them a cut of the revenue, they need to be, appropriately managing the band or the business. Right. And I see the band as a business. And I think
absolutely,
I think anybody that wants to go past a certain point has to see a band as a business with a clear business leader. As much as it's going to piss people off to hear this, a successful band is never a true democracy. There's always a leader that says, okay, you guys, we're getting off track here. We're somebody's got to keep the vision clear and intact. And that can be very difficult. It's already hard to manage multiple personalities, but I really believe that to be successful, you have to have somebody that's the clear leader. I think, it's a terrible example, but it's the only one that I popped in my head. Metallica, Lars Ulrich, I would say, is the clear leader as far as the business leader for the band. For a booking agent, somebody that's able to get you those shows, it's hard to approach the big talent agencies unless you have some serious clout there. Usually they approach you.
Right.
For a studio, somebody that can cut and producer, somebody that's got experience, somebody that shares your vision, that will listen to what you're after as far as the sound goes, and is willing to try to dial that in with you. And I think it's important to also listen to their feedback and not just, they should listen to you as an artist, but a lot of these guys have been doing this a long time, and sometimes they have some really great ideas that if you don't listen, you're leaving good shit on the table that you could put in your recording and make it even better.
Absolutely.
And so, most of all, I think it's just people that share the passion of music and that you get along with, and that in the end, everybody's benefiting from each other's relationship. It's not just a monetary exchange; it's a creative exchange, and I think that's really important. So,
okay,
rock on, John. You got it, bro.
So I love asking this one because it gets people thinking. Wait, my questions don't. If you could play any one show with any artist and at any venue, even if it is not obtainable, with who and where would it be?
Super Bowl halftime show. I guess. God, I don't know. Super Bowl halftime
biggest audience.
Show. And then with who? Wow. Gosh, I don't know. Prince, Tom Petty? I don't know. As far as a singular artist, and those guys were fantastic players and songwriters.
So bring them both.
Okay, there you go. Prince and Tom Petty at the Super Bowl halftime show. There you go.
With you.
That's it. Yeah.
With you front and center.
That's right. Yep. That'd be a hell of a show.
You know what? Where's my sage? I'm going to manifest that right now.
I hope so, man. Get that going. That's going to be a tough one, though.
No, we didn't say what year.
Right. Yeah.
It might be
I'm the
2030,
only
but
one still on this side of the grave, but you know. Anyway,
aren't we all?
so far.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see my name in the obituary this morning when I woke up, so um, I guess basically anything that you feel that you want to add as a personal note to the upcoming musicians and or
Well,
anybody else in the industry.
sure. Well, take it seriously. Practice if you're young and you have the ability to put the hours in, practice now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
don't don't wait till later. Like I said earlier, motivation and momentum is a result of action, not the other way around. And so you need to take massive action. So that means practice, play, start writing, make a band, and if it breaks up, make another band, and just keep going, keep making music. Don't worry about sounding like anyone else. Sound like you, and take all the influences you have and all the things you like, and wrap it up into a big ball of music, and just put it out there. And don't, even though you want everyone else to hear it, and you hope that people like it, you can't seek recognition and you can't seek approval. I think that's a weak-minded approach to doing anything in life. You see a lot of people out on the internet constantly posting videos of themselves, demeaning themselves, doing whatever, seeking recognition and approval. And I think if you create really good stuff, and with a lot of hard work and effort, if you're creating enough good stuff, the recognition and approval will come as a byproduct of your hard work. So patience, patience and hard work, and massive action. That'd be my advice.
I like it a lot. I know it is
Well,
definitely getting late.
yes,
Yeah,
sir.
it's already almost 8.
Yeah.
Um, sounds like you got some um, music to go tend to
Well,
if you're going to keep that
actually,
goal.
yeah, I've got to cut some stuff and get it done and get it out there. So that's true.
How
Yes,
many
sir.
hours a day do you do this?
Man, it varies. It depends. 4 or 5, sometimes only a couple. Sometimes I'm in there all day, but it's fatiguing, and there is
Mm-hmm.
there is a point of diminishing returns. And so just like anything, you have to get up and walk away. And sometimes other responsibilities like being a dad, um, which is my most important responsibility, take precedence. So um, it is what it is, but it'll get done.
Absolutely. Yeah, because it's not instant speeds to upload our stuff. It takes forever to upload on YouTube. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, and well, I got to go through the distributor, and then it has to have so many days to get into the stores, and um, it's just a part of it. But
Well,
I
I
gotta
want to
get it
give
done.
a. You do. Absolutely want to put in a plug here for local radio that is heard literally all around the world. Jamie Missler of Marshall Rock Radio. Reach out to her. Get her email, which I believe is, don't quote me, Marshall Rock Radio or at gmail.com, something like that. Ask her, uh, email the stuff that she needs, and get your songs out there for her.
Yeah, right on. I'll do that. I'll follow up. Appreciate that.
Yeah, she's a huge, no problem. Just trying to do my part to help support the local music. I may not be able to put out an album or anything, but you know what? I can pass followers along to other followers.
Oh man, and that makes a big difference. We all play a part, man. So it's really cool. I appreciate you for having me on, man. Thank you, Ozzy. I appreciate it very
I
much.
appreciate you for coming on. I told you earlier I couldn't tell you thank you enough. Thank you so much.
You got
I
it, man.
appreciate the wisdom you've shared with us.
I don't
I
know how
hope
much.
people listen and learn.
Well, hopefully somebody takes something good out of it. I
At
don't
least
claim
one
to know.
person.
I don't claim to know anything. The only thing I know for sure is that I don't know anything. So hopefully y'all learned something.
That is genius. That was
So
genius. Great way to end the evening.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me on, and bless y'all, and I hope you have a wonderful night. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, sir.
Exactly. Maybe get to see your guitar collection.
Oh, that'd be
Get to
cool.
see all
Yeah.
your battle axes. So,
Right
ladies
on.
and gentlemen, Thad Pearman, what were your bands?
Hardwood Cherry, Native Stone, Mother Kelly, and then all my solo stuff's under Travis Pearman.
And you can find them everywhere.
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 Even,
Guys
even
hear
on
that?
the radio. Yeah, even if you're not hearing it on your radio, call and request it.
There you go. Call, request, get the music out there. Be a supporter of local. I don't care where you're at. If you're in Ohio, you're in Florida, you're in Walla Walla, Washington. Support local right here. Your opportunity.
Right on, man.
Help support the dreams. Stay real, people. I appreciate everybody that's watched or will watch. Thank you again for coming on.
You got it.
Been a
Thank
great
you.
pleasure. And good night, everybody. Until next time, keep it real.
Night.
Good night.